Good evening, Eric. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great.
Wow, it's good to hear.
Enjoyed the Game 7 of the World Series.
Game 7. That's awesome. Of which I saw approximately 0 of them. So, who won?
The Nationals. So, first time in their history that they've won a World Series. First time since 1920-something that there was a World Series win by a baseball team in Washington, D.C. What are other fun facts? The one you had mentioned that you saw was this is the first World Series ever where the visiting team won every game.
I saw a little segment on the news this morning that said that it was the only time that any team was going into a Game 7 where every game, all the 6 games had been won on the road.
Right.
So evidently this is one for the ages.
Well, being a San Francisco Giants fan, I will note also that the Giants won the World Series in 2010, 2012, and 2014, and all their wins came on the road as well. So, all their final game wins. Their final game wins.
I was going to say they must have won at least one at home in order to.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, they're when they won the game to win them the championship, they did. So
okay, well that can end the sports part of the show because I'm not sure I've ever watched a baseball game from start to finish.
You're much more of a basketball guy, I know.
I do like basketball, yeah, but. And I got to go to a basketball game last year. That was fun.
All right.
But yeah, don't do a lot of watching on TV. Who knows? We'll see. All right. Well, congratulations to the Washington Nationals. Washington Nationals?
Yes.
Okay. And that's DC, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. Just to be clear.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, how was your weekend?
So my weekend went a lot better than, if I'm politely honest, than I expected it to. My boy loves weather. He even has his own website where he publishes, pulls the date, and it's kind of weekly highs and lows and says whether it's raining, makes little funny comments, and then shares it with his friends at school. But anyways, he wanted to go to the 27th annual Winter Weather Forecast Conference that was being held at OMSI by the Oregon chapter of the American Meteorological Society.
That's a mouthful.
Yes, and if I'm honest, I was not looking forward to it. But hey, every Saturday we go out and do something. Mostly it's just lunch or drive around or something. Anyways, so this is what he wanted to do. So I went.
Okay.
I had a lot more fun and learned a lot more than I thought I would. It was really cool. So cool that I got a follow-up fact from it. And I have my something fun came out of the conference for this episode. So it was actually a lot of fun. And the fun story about it is we go and we sit down. We're a little bit early, and we go and sit down. And a guy comes over and says, "Hey, are you saving these seats next to you? Do you mind if I have these? I only need 3. My boy turns to me and says, "That's Mark Nelson, the weather guy on Fox 12, which is our local Fox affiliate. And it's his favorite weather personality. He follows his blog. My boy follows his blog. He's always talking about, hey, Mark Nelson said this, so it's going to rain, or it's going to snow, or it's going to whatever. And he sat next to us. My boy was a little shy, so I introduced myself, and he was the nicest guy in the world. Chatted my boy up, mentioned to him that, hey, if you get into high school and you want to do a job shadow, just send me an email, and we'll set up some time where you can come out and do a job shadow to see if weather, being a weather personality or doing something in the newsroom is something you'd be interested in.
Oh,
so
how nice.
He was over the moon, and it was really, really kind of fun. And kind of, there were probably 100+ people there. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, let's see.
So that was my exciting part for this weekend.
That's That's fun. So let's see. So Friday was fun because I mean, you were down there for most of the day too, but we went down to B-Sides PDX. Just kind of hung out down at the convention center. And that was interesting, and I had a good time. Saw a couple people I know. That was fun. And then for me at least, let's see. So Saturday was work plus we had a party Saturday night, a Halloween party Saturday night. Actually, it was for one of my younger boy. One of the students in his class, they had a Alice in Wonderland themed Halloween party. So that was fun. They had all sorts of games and stuff like that, and the parents just kind of sat in the kitchen and talked for a couple hours, but it was a good time. And then Sunday was a work day, but that was fine. It was good.
Fencing,
yeah, and burn pile did a big burn pile. So, although I guess the problematic part of that was the wind was blowing straight from the burn pile to where we were doing the fencing. It was
unpleasant,
ill-timed or ill-planned, because we figured, oh well, hey, we're going to be right here. This is perfect because we can monitor the fire and work on the fencing at the same time. And anyway, it's okay. It was good. The weather this weekend was wonderful. It's one of those nice kind of crisp fall days that was perfectly sunny and just a lovely day to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
So no complaints. But yeah, I probably equivalent smoked a pack or something. So let's see. So let's go on. Let's get on into follow-up here. I had one thing that I threw in here, which was based on the quantum supremacy topic that we talked about the other day.
Yep.
This was a nice article, I thought, from Nature about kind of the concern about overhyping the capability before sort of fledgling technologies are really ready.
The tech industry overhyping something? No.
Never.
You got to be kidding me.
Overhype for the win. Yeah. So, it's nothing that we haven't seen a dozen times before, really. Right. But there were a couple of things that I thought were nice about this article, which were probably in some of the other articles that I might have just skimmed, but it was the comment about Sycamore. Sycamore is the actual quantum chip. The comparison was with the Summit, is the supercomputer that they're talking about at Oak Ridge National Labs.
Right.
That hypothetically would have taken 10,000 years to complete the task for which the Sycamore chip supposedly took 200 seconds. But Summit has 9,000 cores and 28,000 GPUs. That's impressive.
I think you could probably rent that on Amazon as well. So
yeah, I bet you can. It's only like $1 million per second. It's okay. Only 1 second billing.
That's right.
Yeah. But anyway, I thought that was kind of cool. So this was the, like I said, I probably just didn't read the other stuff, but this is being compared against the chip that has 53 qubits. But yeah, the other quote, or I pulled a quote out of here, which was, maybe a couple. The first was that this is an extremely limited case, and there's a vast gap to be bridged before quantum computers can do more meaningful things. And then unrealistic expectations are being fueled that powerful general-purpose quantum computers could soon be on the horizon, which is very unlikely. And then the final quote there is, such misguided optimism could be dangerous for the future of this still fledgling field. This is true.
Yeah, and I think even the original article was, 10 years out before we even get something close, but this is a start kind of. I mean, they gave a horizon, which was a long horizon, if I remember correctly.
Not tomorrow. Yeah, that reminds me of the quote, I think it's by Bill Gates, that says people always overestimate what they can get done in 1 year, but underestimate what they can get done in 10. I love that quote. I love that quote. A good quote. Because, yeah, I mean, you think about what you're going to, this is what I'm going to get done in the next weeks, month, this next year. And then you look back after just a short amount of time, you're like, man, I wanted to do all these things and I just didn't get them all done. But then, you sit here and you look back to 2009 and wow, there's a lot that's happened since 2009. So
yep.
Anyway, we'll put the Nature article in the notes here.
All right. And then my follow-up thing I threw into follow-up was as a result of attending the 27th annual Winter Weather Forecast Conference at OMSI in downtown Portland, was the OMSI guy was able to, so there was a guy from OMSI itself, which OMSI has a great space program, that he got to chat for 15 minutes to the group as well. And he gave a chat about the things that have happened over the last year in the space program. So it was tangentially related, tangentially related to weather. But one of the things he mentioned was the Chandra 2, the Vikram, right, the
Indian space lander,
lunar lander, and the failure. And he made a comment in there that I had not seen anywhere. He made a comment in his presentation that the lander was doing just fine, and then at the last minute, somebody had the bright idea to issue a command, and then as soon as the command was sent, it went off course and crashed. And so I tried to Google that and see if there was any corroborating news articles about that, and I couldn't find it. But we can post. So, take that, I suppose, with a grain of salt. But I would assume that the guy who is reporting on all this NASA stuff and all, what the Chinese were doing and what all the other countries were doing around their space programs, maybe he has some insights that aren't publicly available in the general news, or I need to just improve my Google searching. But we can post the video.
Google food, is it?
Maybe. We can post the video in the chat, and it's about 5 minutes into the video where he talks about the Chandra 2.
Oh. So they posted videos from the whole conference, did they?
Yeah, so you could go watch the videos of everybody. My something fun might include. Okay,
so I'll save it. Save it.
Yeah. Anyways, so that was my follow-up.
All right. I'm curious for more info on that, because I'm curious what command would have been sent, and was it malicious or just inadvertent, or
he implied it. It seemed the implication, at least if you watch the video, was that it was not malicious.
Not malicious.
Not inadvertent, but not malicious.
But it's just about to land. Why would you send it a command? Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. That's why I said I couldn't find any. I Googled around trying to see if there were any other news articles that brought this up, and this. So I don't know.
Okay.
But I thought it was interesting that he would comment on that and make that comment. And we talked about it before. So just some follow-up.
All right.
I can get into my topics as well.
What you got for
me?
I
have two. The first one is in Scientific American, and tying in with my weather-related, mostly security.
Ooh, look at you, keeping it all together.
Topics.
Thematic.
This was, yes, very thematic. This was an article, a blog post in Scientific American about what do hurricanes and cybersecurity have in common. And it kind of relates and tries to tie the two together. It's a short blog post article, but I thought it was interesting, and it tied into my weather theme here. A couple of things I pulled out from that, which I thought were interesting were it mentions that cyber attacks can sometimes appear out of nowhere, devastating businesses and crippling all levels of government. But like extreme weather events, there are warning signs. And if you know where to look for them and who to inform about any suspicious occurrence, you can prepare for them. So kind of, with hurricanes, we have, hurricane forecasting and whatnot. And it makes a point, which is interesting from a weather scientific point of view, not a cybersecurity point of view, that says we need to start exporting the weather tracking and reporting model to everything. So of course it's coming from that angle, saying the way we report weather and track weather should work for cybersecurity. The goal should be to work towards an international coalition or organization dedicated to sharing cyber intelligence, like the ones we use for weather. There are kind of those sharing pieces that exist today, the ISACs, FSISAC, etc. Those kind of exist, but it's saying, hey, we need to start sharing this intel, and it's in everyone's best interest. It goes on to mention a little bit about, we need to probably adjust some laws about someone who is revealing and sharing the information right now. If if you're sharing the information, maybe your stock will get hit because you'll have to say that, you got hit by a cyber attack and you're trying to share, but you protect, there's other issues at play that currently the law legally and politically are, make people not want to share as much as they probably should. So I thought it was an interesting article from... I
like the quote in here that says, even during the most frigid years of the Cold War, the USSR and the United States reported weather patterns to each other and to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
A remarkable example of sustained international cooperation for the greater good. Huh.
Yeah. So
I thought when I saw that you had put this in, I was kind of really quizzical because, there's a lot of stuff about hurricane forecasting and machine learning that you can do for like what the models are for what's going to happen. And, there's a decidedly difference between sort of a amoral and uncontrolled, weather system and something that, will react with malicious intent, to any moves and predictions you have. But I like the sharing aspect. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, very cool. And then my second article is around the cylinders we have in our homes, the smart little cylinders that we chat with. Just like the bad actors can try to convince you to download a piece of malware to your PC or to your phone and then take over things and do things on your device. This is a scenario that can be and is proven to be, as this article will show, adopted for a voice interface device. The title of the article in Ars Technica is and I said it. Too late now.
No active call.
I wonder if that's going to come through on the mic. Your cylinders abused to eavesdrop and phish passwords.
Interesting.
How might they be able to do that? So the threat really isn't theoretical. If you build a skill, the Amazon cylinders let you build what they call skills, and you can, as a consumer of the device, you can enable new skills. And if you go into your app, you can say, oh, I want to download the Jeopardy app, put the Jeopardy app, and then it'll ask me, I can play Jeopardy on the cylinder or whatever. You can have games, you can have whatever you want. Developers can add essentially apps to these cylinders. Google Home calls them actions. And so what the apps that they created were do, just to show proof of concepts, are, for example, there was because you can have it do something, you can say, if you want to create a malicious app, you can have the app, have the user say, hey, in this instance, it was the My Lucky Horoscope horoscope app.
Horoscope is not a bad thing, especially for Halloween.
Yeah. You could ask it to give me my horoscope for the day or whatever. Or for either the Amazon or the Google cylinders. Yeah.
You get to edit this week,
dude. Those out.
You'll have to beep those out.
I'm going to keep editing out every time I say I'm going to have to use my fancy beep. Never mind.
Stop it.
Yes, be quiet. All right. So, and what it does, it'll listen, it'll say something, and then it will just leave the mic open because they can continue to listen even when they're not running, or they can give a fake error message. And the one that I thought was particularly clever was the fake password one. So you would go in and you would say, do the thing, and the app would respond with, oh, this app is not available in your country. And then it would, I'm sorry, please, try again later, or wait, we're working on an update. We hope to have an update soon. And then instead of shutting off, it would sit and listen and delay for a certain period of time. And then it would launch into audio using the same voice as the cylinder, the regular voice that would say something along the lines of, say, hey, there's a device update available. Please tell me the password, and tell me your password, and I will update the device.
Clever girl.
Yes. Jurassic Park. So anyways, that was, I thought, a clever way to siphon off phishing passwords. Because when I first read the title of the article, I'm like, how's it going to phish passwords?
Right.
Abusing eavesdropping, I can see and understand that one. So I could mentally picture how to do that one, but it didn't occur to me that, well, maybe just put in a really pause and then just ask the user for the password in the Amazon or the Google Voice.
Right.
And you can bet some people would. Now, this was all a POC from a lab.
Right.
So these aren't actually out live now to do this malicious, but it's not, these ones weren't, but it's possible. They proved that it was possible that this could happen. So again, not only when you download something to your phone or download a new app to your PC, if you enable a new skill or a new action on whatever your cylinder is, make sure you know what you're getting into and pay attention to the interactions and how they're working. So
right.
This was an interesting article.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
All
right. Well, I chose a couple here. My first one is an article from ESET about a SQL Server backdoor. So this was particularly interesting to me because it kind of combines a number of different things. Now, the article makes some pretty bold claims that this is a Chinese hacking group. And they have links in the article, but I didn't go read all of the sort of ancillary links either. But the group is the Winnti Group, and they said that they were responsible for a number of different attacks, and in particular against the video game and software industry. But this backdoor targets SQL Server 11 and 12, which aren't the latest versions of SQL Server, but they are the most widely deployed. And if they said how these got on the box in the first place, I didn't catch it. I mean, it seemed to be that there was mention of the dropper and the packer the payload that it dropped. So I presume it's getting phished or on a thumb drive or something else that's getting it there in the first place. But the tricky bit about this is, just like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, this uses hooking to modify functions in SQL Server, in particular functions around password validation and logging, so that basically there's a magic password that if you type the magic password for any account, the password will be valid. So they basically hook the password function, and if the password that you type matches their magic one, then they just return true and let you in. And they set a global flag so that the other hooked functions skip things like logging the authenticated session and stuff like that, so that, if somebody's suspicious and goes to look and say, see what's happening in the audit log and stuff like that, they won't see
detection evasion,
some of these events because they've been hooked and excluded. And once they're in, there's all sorts of stuff they can do with the SQL Server. It's interesting that they said that there's already been examples for manipulating in-game currencies for games, which is, I guess, something that I can imagine being interesting, because many in-game currencies can essentially be leveraged for, out-of-game currencies in one way or another. And then this was actually a very technical article about, going through a lot of the reasons why they believe that they're the same, due to the packers, due to the functions, due to the way that the hooking's done. It's hard to describe in audio, but I did pull out a couple other facts from this. If you're really interested, you should go look at the ESET article. Mm-hmm. But they target 10 functions to hook. And the most interesting one, they say, is the validate password for login function, which is the one that I mentioned, checks for the magic password and sets the global variable. This was an interesting article, I thought. SQL Server is very, very popular still. So if you can get on and, get to the database server, that's a powerful way to be, or a powerful place to be. Uh-huh. That's where the data is. So my second one was, I think this actually happened at the end of last week, but this is the Discord client hack. I don't know if you had a chance to read this one.
Nope.
So the client is not well protected. So the first thing is, this is an Electron app. Electron is basically a wrapper around WebKit. That basically it's a browser UI. It lets you build all your UI in the browser, or sorry, it's not WebKit, it's Chromium, right?
Yeah, like Visual Studio Code is an Electron app.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of
Slack, right? The Slack app is Electron. Anyway, it's basically a way that you can package up kind of a purpose-built app, but then you get to use JavaScript, CSS, and HTML to do your UI, and then you can basically build your UI in a way that it can be done on the web as well as in kind of a whole little app package.
Right. And
so, that's nice. So you can kind of write it mostly once and run it in at least a couple places. But the downside of that is, your application code is basically just JavaScript on disk. Mm-hmm. And so if that JavaScript can be modified and then, run, it will then run in the context of, whatever the app does. So in particular, for what they do here is this malware modified the core files of Discord and then restarts the client so that its code executes on startup, and then they kind of own you. So they send a bunch of information to their CNC infrastructure, C2 infrastructure, such as the user tokens, the time zone, the screen resolution, IP address, other information such as username, email, phone number, if there's stored payment info, and a few other bits, but then also the first 50 characters of the Windows clipboard.
Oh.
So anything that you have in your clipboard, like, for example, a password copied from 1Password or something like that, it will be sent. So, that's pretty
nasty.
Yeah, pretty nasty. And lots of stuff could be exfiltrated there. The last part of the article was about like, hey, what Discord should do, but it kind of read as kind of basic security 101 to me, as far as how do you ensure that your your app isn't tampered with, and for OSs have this support in them. So Windows has Authenticode, OS 10 has, Mac OS has all the signing that you do with Xcode for application bundles. It's a little mysterious to me that there isn't support in the Electron ecosystem for having some kind of an app bundle that's validated on startup. But I'm not in that world, so it seems strange to me. But I guess maybe since they're trying to do something cross-platform, maybe they don't have this on all platforms, or I don't know. Seemed a little weird to me. But this is not a mysterious problem that is, new invention has to be done for how to solve it. This is what PKI is about.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know how I love JavaScript, so.
Yeah, I know you love JavaScript. The funny thing is if you look, one of the funny things, if you look down here into a couple of the JavaScript files, so like if you look at what should be in index.js, it's literally one line of code.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, actually, I guess an even better thing, sorry, I'm looking at the article again. An even better thing is there's actually 2 index.js's in 2 different subdirectories for 2 different modules, and each of which should have one line of code in them. So, and if they've been edited and they've got a whole bunch of obfuscated JavaScript in them, then that's not a good thing.
I got nothing.
That's not a good thing. Nah, it's okay. You don't have to have anything for me, but check out the the article.
And if you use Discord,
yeah,
I don't know what to do for you.
Well, you can at least go look at these JavaScript files and see if they look the same way as the screenshots are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right, got something fun for me?
Yes, I do. Finally, I get to talk about. All right, so the last piece from the Weather Forecast Conference.
Okay.
The first speaker, he was a guest speaker. He's the chair of the University of Washington. I don't know what the meteorological program is up there, but the weather program where quite a few of the forecasters in the local area have gone through. He was their professor. Anyways, during his presentation, he talked about these things called Saildrones. And this was the most fascinating thing to me. Right. We talked a couple of weeks ago about, drones and air drones and what drones can do. And we've talked about, autonomous vehicles. Well, these are big surfboards with sails on them. They're 7 meters long and 5 meters tall and go down into the water 2.5 meters or so. Anyways, and they're solar powered. And they're called Saildrones. Go to saildrone.com. And the idea behind these is they can go out into the ocean and autonomously circle in areas or get moved towards areas and help predict weather from 300 miles off the coast of the U.S. Right now, there's 6 of them. Each of them about 300 miles off the coast from Washington down to California, helping, with weather information, and they can stay out there for a year, and they only need to come in because they're solar powered to recharge their batteries, and they only need to come in due to, what did it say? It was moss or what's algae. If they start kind of getting coated with algae,
kind of like the rovers on Mars, their solar panels get covered with dust or something, lose efficiency over time.
They're completely autonomous, and you can send them new GPS coordinates, and they'll move themselves whatever direction. They can travel. I think he said in that Facebook from the other guy, you can see the other guy's whole presentation where he talks about these Saildrones if you want. I thought he said they could move about 50 kilometers a day, but the website says they can go 100 kilometers a day. So, and then on top of that, if you go to forecast.saildrone.com, they have a really cool application that's pulling data from a number of these drones and bragging about some of the stuff that they can do for forecasting. Oh, other thing I wanted to mention really quick was the professor also said, the NOAA has all that's a National Oceanographic
and Atmospheric Administration.
Thank you. Atmospheric Administration. They have buoys that they have out in the water. And he said, half of them are broken. They don't work. He was not happy. They're old technology. He says, sail drones are the future. We'd get a fleet of these things out there. We can move them around. If something happens, we can do really excellent, more climate prediction. They can move out. Anyways, just the capabilities and potential of these things from a climate science point of view just was amazing. So that was the thing I geeked out most about.
That is really cool.
They are very cool.
I could totally see reading a bunch more stuff out here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and they say they can sit through, they're sturdy enough they can survive through hurricanes just fine. So,
wow.
Anyways, there you go. That's my something fun for this week. Happy
Saildrone
Halloween.
completes first autonomous circumnavigation of Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Well, now you're going to make me go do more reading. I thank you. That looks fun.
All right.
Okay. It's hard to get a sense for scale.
Yeah, it is. You have to actually just read about the dimensions because they don't put them next to anything. It'd be cool if they have somebody in a boat sitting next to them. You can get the scale, but 7 meters is pretty big.
Yeah, that's yeah. Okay. All right. That's cool. I'll have to go out and read. That is something very fun. Okay.
All right. I see you have 2 fun things.
I do. Well, there's so many fun things in the world. I can't not. So one is just timely. I have to do it this week. And one I didn't do last week, even though it should have been my something fun last week, but I had something else that came up last week. So first of all, the thing that I must do this week, because this is the week, is, did you know that 2 days ago was the 50th anniversary of the founding of the internet?
I didn't know it was 50. I mean, I did see the 50 years articles, but had I not seen these flash by, I would not have thought it was 50 years old already.
So this says the ARPANET, which is the predecessor to the internet that we know today, was born in room 3420 in UCLA. UCLA's Boulter Hall. So let's see. I didn't actually copy out anything here, but we'll put this. What article did I choose? There were a bunch of articles. If you just search 50th anniversary internet, I'm sure you can come up with your own. But I'm going to post the Fast Company one in here. But this says that 50 years ago today, actually 2 days ago as we read this, or as we record this, so I guess it was Monday, a graduate student named Charlie Klein sat at a ITT teletype terminal and sent the first digital data transmission to Bill Duvall, a scientist sitting at another computer at the Stanford Research Institute on the other side of California. Was the beginning of ARPANET.
Nice.
So, anyway, 50th anniversary. One of the biggest things in your and my lifetimes of.
Yeah, without which I would not have a job.
It's hard to imagine what life would be like at the moment without the internet, and. I don't know. I feel like we've been really fortunate. I certainly consider myself fortunate to have been sort of present, at least, for, the first of things, the first domains, the first browser, NCSA Mosaic and stuff like that were, coming out when I was in college and, using them. And I still remember the first time I saw a website on a television commercial, and I was like, "What? Hey!" I told my wife, "Look! They're putting internet sites on TV."
Now they put TV on the internet.
How crazy is that? So, anyway, it's fun. But so that had to be my first one. So go read this article. This is great. Talks about, why, because they had teletypes that basically were 1-to-1.
Right.
And, he hated the fact, Taylor hated the fact, let's see, here's the quote. He hated the fact that you had to have separate terminals, each with its own leased communication line to connect with various remote research computers. Why can't you have one terminal that goes anywhere you want it to go? So, hence TTY. Anybody who knows your Unix.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
And down in the bowels of your operating system today, there is still TTY support. That was my first one. Go read the article. Enjoy, and that's great. Okay, but then what was going to be my real something fun last week that I booted, but I really do want to cover it this week, is an audio drama from the same people that did Wolf 359. But it's nowhere near as long. So you can just go and you can binge this. So I basically binged it last weekend, but it's called 0 Hours. And the website is www.zerohourspodcast. And it is basically, it's only 7 episodes, and they are only 30 or 40 minutes each. It's drama, it's not spoken word like we're talking here, but it's basically 7 stories from quote unquote the end of the world, and they're all set 99 years apart. So there's like 1722. Sorry, I'm doing this from memory. I should really have it in front of me. It's like 1722, 1821, 1920, 2019. So that's why I think I did that right.
Yep.
And then 21, 18, and 22, 17. Is that 7? Anyway, so basically, it's a story, each set 99 years apart, about the end of the world.
Are they completely individual, or do I need to listen to episodes 1 through 7, or does it matter what order I listen to them because they're just individual stories? I haven't. I don't want to
spoil anything, so
okay.
I'll just say it's probably better to just listen from the beginning.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
They're mostly independent, but yeah, you should, anyway, it's very, I really enjoyed it. It's not a huge commitment. Like, I don't know the 50 or 60 episodes that Wolf 359 was, which was very enjoyable. I did appreciate it, but this is just a very short 7 episodes.
All right.
It came out 2 weeks ago, kind of a bunch of stuff still going on in marketing for it at the moment. I've seen a bunch of tweets about extras and descriptions of the recording and stuff like that they've got online that they've been kind of spoon feeding out. I haven't had a chance to read or listen to any of that stuff. I just have listened to the actual show, but the actual show was great. Really enjoyed it. So go give it a listen. I don't think you'll be sad.
I will have to add that to my list.
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
So this is episode 99.
And it's 99 years between 0 Hour podcasts. Well, good thing you saved it.
Oh, wow. My mind is just blown.
It's late. I'm easily amused.
That was coincidental. But that means next week is episode 100, which is crazy to me. So I don't know. What are we going to do? We should talk about it this week. Maybe plan it sometime before next Wednesday night.
Actually plan an episode?
No. Heaven forfend. Can't do that.
All right.
Have
a good night, John.
Call it a wrap.
Yep.
Talk to you later, Eric.
Bye.
Bye.